So here's the deal with 21. It's a parallel reasoning question, right? In-house expert, what do we have to do with this question?
He's not an expert, just so you guys know.
Okay.
So I just could not figure out why. I diagrammed it out in E.
Did you diagram this question?
I did.
Ah, wait a sec. You can diagram this. I'm not opposed to that. But I don't think you have to.
No, and I just did it because I skipped this one originally, and so when I went back to be the expert, I just wanted to make sure.
You really understood it? And you're still debating between some?
No, I understand why E is the correct answer, but
Okay.
I would never gotten that part of the diagram.
So let's clarify one thing here. You don't have to diagram, but you do have to have a mental picture in your mind of what the rough skeleton is, right? And if diagramming helps, so be it. So we all see the same mental structure. What did you draw for this?
So,
First premise.
I said if you want me to the abstract one, like literally.
What did you draw?
I put if S,
Okay.
then B and E.
Okay. So if it's a song by Amanda, if Amanda writes a song, right? Just say it's by Amanda. Well, I don't want to make this more confusing than it needs to be. Okay. So if S, then it's got to be P or B. Cool. That's premise one, right? Punk or blue. Oops, I switched around. Anyways, most punk.
And then I said if punk.
Most punk. Okay. Alright.
Oh yeah, most. Then 3 chords.
So 3
so
max.
C.
Okay.
And then I said if not B, then 3C, then 3.
Yes. If not B, then 3. Yeah, I'll get rid of that max. That's just adding stupid information. Okay, good. Now, what's really important here is that, hey, you have only... There's also one thing that's... Did anyone notice? Well, she only does one or the other, right? She's ever written... You could say, and the idea... What's important here is that she's... When she writes a song, she's only doing one or the other.
Yeah, right.
But there's actually a slight nuance here. Did anyone notice it in the first sentence? Yeah?
I don't know if you're referring to this, but isn't that a flaw in and of itself?
Yeah, what's the flaw?
Assuming that she will continue to write just blues or punk rock songs. That's
Yeah.
a temporal flaw.
Yeah, absolutely. So this says the only songs that she has ever written are these two, but she could change in the future, right? But so this is like a past statement. Again, I wouldn't draw this. This is kind of just stuff you want to keep in your head. But what's important here is that in a nutshell, she's only going to do these two things, at least in the past. Most of this have this characteristic. So if she doesn't do that, then she's going to have this characteristic.
Which is not, it's the opposite. So if it's not blues, it will probably not involve more than 3.
Oh, not involved. Oh, yes, that's because I wrote 3 max, right? Not more than 3. So you could do it, you could say not 3 to be consistent with that language, but same idea, yeah. Okay, good. I think other than this past, present, future thing, this argument kind of makes sense, right? Yes.
No, I was just saying, like, I got this one wrong, where I just went through it, and I think that why I got it wrong was because when I diagrammed it, I, like, negated the 3, but I think the right bit, basically, although the necessary condition of the 3 is that it, like, and in the conclusion is that it's confirmed that it will have this characteristic of not having 3 chords. So I think that tripped me up because, like, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, though I think you're giving too much weight to the negative or the positive, because what has to be the case is that either they're both negative or they're both positive.
Okay.
They have to have the same characteristic of whatever is mentioned here.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I can see how it would mess us up, but there might be a slightly, like, different problem. Like, you might not be just trying to equate two things. Well, let's take a look. So which ones were we debating?
D and E.
C and E. All the pets the family has ever owned, has ever in the past, have been fish and parrots. So far, so good, right? This is like this. All they have ever been is blues and punk. Most parrots are very noisy. So it's talking about parrots. This one is talking about... What the heck? Oh, I thought it's like parrots. Anyways, so most parrots have this characteristic, right? Noisy. Sound good? So far, this is excellent. So, any pet the family ever owns that is not a fish. So, if it's not this, then it will be this, right? Will probably be very noisy. It's very, very close. What's the problem? It's any. Wait, any and most? We didn't have most in the original, did we?
Right.
This is most punk rock songs, so that
That has to do with the premise. The issue here is the any in the conclusion.
yeah, it doesn't. Really,
Why is that a problem?
Because it doesn't really restrict it, like it's saying that.
How is it different from the original?
It's different than the original because the original specifically says that if it is not blues, then it has to be something.
I think it includes.
Well, no, this says any pet that the family ever owns that is not a fish.
I think it includes whatever the pets that Gupta family already owns, because any pet that
Mhm.
the family owns.
What is the original specifically talking about?
The next one.
The next one. Right, like if you think about, we've talked about the past, and we're saying the next one that
Yeah.
the next song that she writes, if that one is not a blues song, so the conclusion in C is too strong. It's saying, hey, in all time, any pet that is not a fish, right, not just the next pet. Kelly, you still have a furrowed brow look.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to figure out what my rationale was, because I eliminated it thinking that it differed from the original argument because
Of
it
most?
was, yes. So I'm still trying to figure out what I was thinking.
Which most are you looking at? Are you looking at the most in the second premise, or are you looking at the most in the second half of the conclusion?
Second premise. So I thought most parrots are not very noisy, so that contradicted its own premise and that eliminated it.
Wait, it doesn't say not very noisy, it says very noisy.
Are very noisy. Okay.
So that's actually consistent. Everything about this answer looks good to me except for the fact that it's talking about any pet that is not a fish as opposed to the next pet that is not a fish.
My issue is that so in the first one you said if it's not blues then this characteristic, and then the correct answer it was if not this characteristic, it won't be this characteristic if it's like it flips them, like you won't have this characteristic if it's not this thing. Where I chose C because C went in the same order where it said if it's not a fish, it'll be noisy.
Yeah, so we don't care actually about the order of the sentence in terms of like if then, right? Like if I say to you, if I go to the store then I'll get angry versus I will get angry if I go to the store, logically it means the exact same thing. Yeah.
So I
They did that on purpose, right? They took that if clause and they said, let's put it at the end of the sentence. But as long as it's the if clause, we're good.
I do see why E is correct, but I think that D conforms to the diagram that you've drawn on the board.
Yeah, okay, let's take a look. Every pet that the family has ever owned has been a fish or a parrot. So far, so good. Passed, right? Either one. Most parrots are very noisy. Talking about one of them. Most of them have a certain characteristic. In this case, it was not 3. In this case, it's very noisy. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
So far, so good. So, if the next pet is not a parrot, that's the problem.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I was saying before about. I think that I got tripped up because of the negation, and I.
Well,
think
so this is negating that, and it needs to be the opposite of this because they told
Sure.
us about P, so then they need to negate B.
Sure.
And what they did is they told us about P and then negated P.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. But I think that if we diagram 3 as negative, then we overlook the fact
So
that
hold
it's
on, hold
a
on.
characteristic.
I don't see how the problem in answer choice D has anything to do with this.
I'm saying that's the cause of my confusion.
Yeah, but I'm
Because
confused.
I
I'm confused why
diagrammed-
you're confused by that because this is irrelevant to how we get rid of it. Like whether you did -3 or +3, it's not at all related to why D is wrong.
Well, because I was looking for one that, because I diagrammed 3 in a negative sense. I was looking for something
So
that
you wrote negative
negated
3.
a characteristic rather than affirmed a characteristic. So it not having 3 chords is affirming a characteristic of punk rock songs rather than negating it.
We're affirming this characteristic right here when we say
Yeah,
not
no, I know,
Yeah.
Bren. So but I was
Oh, sorry, I'm
confused by diagramming it with an apparent negation, which is striking a line. through
Yeah.
it. I think that tripped me up.
Okay. Yeah, so we should talk more later because I don't understand why that would trip you up, given the fact that all we care about is whether it stays the same.
Okay.
So let's talk more afterward.
Okay.
Because I'm still kind of confused by what you're saying. But